We are live?
Yeah, we're live.
We are the people of Mercury. I am your interplanetary host, Travis Montgomery. These views reflect one planet and one planet alone.
Hello, and welcome to Mercury's Cast. This is your host, Travis Montgomery. Be sure to go to Facebook page and like Mercury's Cast. Follow us on Twitter, and be sure to subscribe on iTunes. We almost have 100 likes on the Facebook page, which may not seem a lot, but it's kind of hard. It's kind of a hard thing to do. Joined today by Alex. FU, do you prefer Alex or Alexander?
Prefer Alexander. You can go
Alexander.
Go ahead and drop the FU, as here shortly my legal surname will be Alexander. So I guess I'll be the artist formerly known as Alexander Fu.
Well, right on. Tonight, we might be joined by Chad coming in a little later. We definitely have some stuff to talk about. Anything new going on with you, Alexander, that you'd like to share with us?
I mean, personal life, I have walked almost 50 miles this week. It's part of, a good health kick, And after discussing things with some runners, I've determined that 50 miles is a long way to travel by foot. So,
are you doing that on purpose or just while you're working?
Kind of a mix of both. I'm sure I could get around more efficiently, but I'm really, really lazy, and I struggle to go to the gym just on my own. So if I can get a workout while, going to and from work or just doing my everyday chores, I figure kill two birds, one stone.
There you go.
So
I'm up to almost
and
15 miles on the steps.
All leg day jokes. So every day is leg day.
Right. Well, with me wearing my bags and walking around as much as I do, it's kind of a workout in its own.
Oh, for sure, man.
So,
do you want to go ahead and get started off on a little current events, a little tech talk?
Yeah, let's do some tech talk.
Okay.
So this technology that we're going to talk about tonight could be we're on this kind of like mega species big picture type kick with the asteroids lately, and then talking about CRISPR today, which is a gene altering technology. CRISPR is an acronym that I'm not going to try and pronounce because why? So what happened is scientists were messing around with some E. coli DNA, which is a bacteria, and they were reading the genetic code. They found these repeating blips in the sequence, kind of like these spaces between the actual genetic code. It turns out to be virus DNA, which is kind of unheard of. It's like finding mosquito DNA inside of a human being. And so what the bacteria has done is created this defense system by keeping a part of the virus sequence in it. When the bacteria fights a virus, it inherits some of the DNA by snipping it so that the bacteria will remember the virus, and then it knows what kind of I forget what it's called, but to go out and attack that antibodies. It kind of has a mugshot of the virus that it encountered before. It doesn't always work. Sometimes the virus wins, but if the bacteria survives, it keeps a mugshot of the virus DNA. So what it does is, if it survives, it clips the DNA sequence. So those little blips are able to snip away some of the DNA and inherit it, and so that the following bacteria I know it's really hard to follow. It doesn't even really make sense to me, and I've done a lot of reading and research on it. So basically, the snipping part of the bacteria DNA allows now not a defense system, but more like an offense, to go in for any. They found these, and it works for any kind of DNA. So what they can do now is take out genes, or
it's actually RNA. It's RNA that's being clipped. It's sequences of RNA, so ribonucleic acid, not deoxyribonucleic acid. And basically what this is we're talking about inoculation on a DNA level. So DNA inoculating itself against viruses by snipping segments of RNA from the virus.
Which in turn, say if you wanted to clip out the gene that had Huntington's disease or any kind of natural birth defect, or, there's a gene for alcoholism, there's a gene for being taller.
Have you seen Gattaca?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember.
See, I was thinking, I think it's interesting that 2 tech talks in a row, we've brought up topics that are part of the utopianist singularity. Technology and humanity become one. Fusion energy, indirectly brought up by yours truly for lasers. That's usually the catalyst of singularity, and simultaneously for going on, which I don't know if you saw, but in England they successfully spliced RNA into embryos, human embryos.
Really?
Yeah, February of last year, I believe.
I know China's gone, like, leave it up to China, because it's a really dangerous thing to start messing with fetuses and stuff like that, and leave it up to China.
I think that looking at the bad side of it, yeah, it could be very dangerous. But looking at the good side of it, it could be dangerous for us. I mean, there's in our own genetic coding, there's a kill switch that tells us to decay, that tells us to die. If scientists could theoretically turn off that kill switch, new humans could potentially not age, or not age as quickly.
Well, that's done on a cellular level, though. It's the cells kind of
yeah, but if you're talking about a fetus, you're talking about an embryo, you're talking about a single egg. If you can ruin or get rid of the kill switch on our DNA that causes this aging, if you did it at such a young age, we would literally get to our prime. We would get to 22, 25 years of maturity. And then from then on, it's very likely that the only way we would die would be of disease, physical trauma, or I think that's about it. Just disease, viruses, and physical trauma. But I mean, you've got, if you could live to 300-400 years, imagine the antibodies you would have to disease.
I'd like to see what Dr. Rhonda Patrick has to say about that, because she's on Joe Rogan Experience a lot, and she likes to talk about the way that cells decay and how that increases aging. I mean, we're in the same ballpark here.
Well, here in the States, last year, I believe, someone was a doctor, I can't remember his name, and I will look that up, but he successfully spliced DNA using the CRISPR method here in the United States and got FDA approval.
He did
because he did
what
not
with CRISPR?
He changed out 16 genes in white button mushrooms, and it was the first case of CRISPR being used in the United States and approved because he did not splice in other DNA. He just merely eliminated DNA present within the mushroom.
But that's what the... Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. So you're not patching in other
So
stuff.
rather than patching new stuff in, he just pulled out stuff that was already there, and that's where I was going with the whole singularity. Remove the aging genome. If they could find that one genetic code in us that tells us to age,
So now let's talk
it
about
would be groundbreaking.
the potential of it. Because, potentially we could create a superhuman race with it if we perfected the technology.
We could take cancer cells and make ourselves immortal with it. Because cancer cells don't age. Or what makes them such a terrible, terrible thing to fight is that they do not kill themselves. They don't have a kill switch.
But they do die.
They die through mechanical means. We kill cancer cells by sending them with radiation. We kill cancer cells by using harmful chemicals. But these are all methods that kill everything, not just cancer cells.
Right.
Most deaths of cancer aren't cancer, it's chemotherapy. But unfortunately, doctors have yet to come up with many legitimate ways that hold vitamin B, vitamin B15, the apricot pit shit. That stuff's poison. It's just...
Apricot shit?
Apricot pit shit, to be scientifically
correct. Shit. Material, or are you talking about apricot poop?
Look this up really quick.
So anyways, not only can we eliminate stuff, but we could also add stuff to babies. And in a sense, now we're playing God in a sense that we could alter human beings. It's one thing to choose the gender of your baby, but you could choose blue eyes, you could choose blonde hair, you could have a area. Just what Hitler wanted. This is what, if Hitler got a hold of this a long time ago, things might have been a lot different.
To all three homeopaths out there that I just offended by making fun of vitamin B15, it's not a true vitamin, has no nutritional value, no known use in treatment of any disease, and has been called a quack remedy. It's also poisonous. Poisonous. So there's that. Just in case I got your
B13,
your panties in a bunch.
Vitamin B13,
vitamin B15.
I don't know. Ryan seems to think that it's B13. He'll be on next week. That'll be barrels of fun. Next week, Ryan and then OG Tim's coming on. It's going to be great. It's going to be huge.
Yeah, I'm referring to pangamic acid or panjamic acid, which is vitamin B15, and it's found in apricot pits.
But anyways, this is huge. This is is this a bad thing? Like, what? Don't we need people dying too, so we don't overpopulate?
Oh yeah,
we need people to die.
For sure, we most certainly do. And I think that it'd be interesting in the comments section to see. Do you think humans should be immortal creatures who bow down not to the will of genetics, but instead become a super race? Or do you think we're killing off the planet and should probably die before we kill it? These are religious reasons. I don't give a shit. but I'd like to see what you think.
Well, I think that if life went on forever, then maybe the happy moments wouldn't be so happy. Maybe it wouldn't be as joyful.
If life went on forever, maybe we wouldn't spend our happy moments worrying about dying.
Well, that's not a happy moment for me. That's more like a morbid moment.
Yeah. You watch your kid take his first steps and you think,
oh shit, I don't have the damn cameraman on. How did I not notice that? All right, go ahead.
We've been doing voice audio, just audio this entire time.
No, it's the camera angle wasn't switching. It's just stuck on my ugly ass.
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm fine with that, to be honest. I'm going to ahead and I'm seeing what Ryan just sent. World Without Cancer, the story of vitamin B17. Dude, I'm talking about something else.
Well, I'm gonna have to mediate. I can already see you two are just gonna like try. It's gonna be information overload for everyone, and no one else is gonna get to talk because you two are gonna go at it. I can already. It's got to be. We're gonna have to mitigate it somehow.
I'll just tell him to shove coffee up his ass and try the Gerson treatment.
The coffee enemas are fantastic. I do one every morning in the shower.
Good to know.
Just kidding.
Gives you that little extra pep in the morning. So what do you say we close out a CRISPR? Just final thoughts on it. I think it's interesting. I don't think there's anything morally wrong with it, but I do see some pragmatic issues. Just overpopulation is already a potential issue. So, especially
in the U.S., but we're going to get to that later.
I mean, there's enough space in the state of Texas to, have every human on Earth live in Texas at a reasonable population density.
But do the resources exist for that?
Yes and no.
Right
If we start eating bugs, definitely. Bugs are an extremely efficient source of protein. And if we were to switch to that, it would be amazing how efficient we could do.
Yeah. Have you heard of the cricket protein powder? It's supposed to be super.
I've not heard of it, but it sounds like it'd be pretty cool. I'll look into it for sure.
So there are that many bugs in Texas that it can just feed the whole world's population?
Mass farming. I mean, it doesn't take that much space to farm crickets, bud. Yeah.
Well, all you need is like a football stadium filled with bugs and dirt, and they'll just do their own thing.
Crickets, unlike cattle, you can stack crickets pretty high. You could do high-rise cricket farms.
Now, hold on. We might have PETA on our ass for that one. You need to cut that crap
out. Insects don't feel pain, and I don't give a shit what PETA says. Insects do not feel pain.
Well, I talked to a cricket one time, and he told me that his cousin got eaten by a rat, and it was the most horrific, painful experience that a cricket.
Well, here's what I say to PETA people who might see eating crickets as immoral. If we as a species relied on bug protein as opposed to mass farming, less animals out of the cricket family. So yes, we'd be committing mass genocide of crickets, but you wouldn't be killing little baby rabbits by tilling your organic iceberg lettuce fields.
And before we move on to
the topic for another day.
Before we move on, another thing that separates Americans from a lot of other countries in the world is that food is a pleasure for us, and food is just kind of like something that keeps people going in other countries. It's if they have their bowl of rice, then some people don't even get their bowl of rice, but if they do, then that's good. It gives them energy, but it's not. I don't think it's pleasureful. It's not like.
Oh, it's still a pleasure. It's just not as.
It's not as pleasureful as the morbidly obese person getting 3 Big Macs and sitting down and stuffing their face.
And a Diet Coke.
With the Diet Coke. The large fries, 3 Big Macs, Diet Coke.
Let me take a tally here. Who have I pissed off? Fatties, PETA, shit.
God.
Oh, and and vitamin B 15 people.
No, it's B17. It clearly says right there, without cancer.
Yeah, that's
B17.
one book. There are many of these quacks. Go to Wiki, bud.
He could have been on. Hey, Brian,
Hey.
you missed your shot, bro. You can still come on if you want. If you want, I easily invite you.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of shit going on. I'm mad at him. He's got a lot of shit going on.
I would, however, like to see how vitamin B17 ties into our next topic: estate tax.
Oh, you mean when people die and they have to give up all their shit and the government taxes them?
Again,
That's a perfect segue, right? Cancer, death, estate tax.
is theft, and I'd say that taxation is
Let me see what it is
like,
first. It's a tax levied on the net value of the estate of a deceased person before distribution to its heirs. So before your children get any of your goods when you die, there's a tax on it already, and then there's another tax to follow. Double dipping.
Do you want to the advocate here, or do you want me to defend it? Because I feel like we both have pretty.
I see some good, just very little good in the estate tax, but I see more of a need to get rid of it.
I see no good in it. I see perceived good in it, but I definitely think it should be long gone. Mind you, I'm not an advocate for even income tax. I think the only fair tax would be tax on goods.
I agree.
So in the case of an estate tax, though, what we're talking about here is the only good thing about it is this perceived idea of it will prevent holding of wealth. So essentially, if Bill Gates dies tomorrow, it'll keep his family, the Gates family, from being this overly powerful dynastical family of, rulers. But I think Bill Gates has already said that he's donating like his wealth when he dies. Like he's totally cutting his family out of the loop for a majority of his estate. I could be wrong there, but either way, it just brings up an interesting idea, and that's the idea of free will. Like the idea that we as human beings can choose whether to be moral or immoral, and what someone does with their estate, their money when they die is their business, not ours, not the collective good of society. But if you earned it, it's your money. So,
Yep.
And I'm not exactly a rich person. I mean, many would consider. Some people say that I'm what they know as poor. So,
But you have the brains of a rich man.
well, that's because I want to be rich. Is that the more I make it harder for rich people to get by, if I ever get rich, I'm just after the fact making it harder on myself. That's why most people, I think, the older they get, the more fiscally conservative they get. Because they realized that when they were kids, they voted in favor of all these taxes that would, I want my free healthcare. I want my free college. I want my free this, and this, with no economic understanding of, the implications of making these things free. Okay, I want my free bachelor's degree. Well, now bachelor's degrees are in low demand and high supply. They're practically worthless. Everyone who's already paid for one.
They never go to the fucking thing that they studied for. They never go in the field that they studied for.
Well, yeah, but even I mean, people with bachelor's degrees are just so abundant that you've got people with bachelor's flipping hamburgers, making less than I do, and I've got a GED. So,
right.
But getting back to the estate tax, it's a case of people who don't have on people who do have. It's like this childish resentment of people. And okay, if you took the time, if you're an entrepreneur and you took the time to build something, I think that you have every right to keep what is yours. You built it. But in the case of I mean, most of these people, though, they don't think that way. And the people that would fight for an estate tax most certainly do not think that way. They think that money is we the peoples, the collectives. It's this like neo-socialist view of what's yours is mine and what's mine is mine. You know?
Right.
Give to the poor and the poor give nothing back.
And so it was kind of this was talked about with our forefathers. I'm not sure how far it went along. I think it came up for a bit and then got shun away. But World War I war bonds is why it came back. Is that we had these bonds that we had to pay off for World War I, so that's why they brought it back in 1911. I think that's what the year was. So
I'm sure some keyboard warrior will tell us you're wrong. So
yeah, no, it was used to pay off war bonds in after World War I. The problem with it kind of is, and I don't know, I mean, whose business is this, but you create a Paris Hilton or some entitled person that now has all this wealth and power, and they didn't do anything to earn it.
For the record, Paris Hilton is actually a fantastic businesswoman these days. She's actually taken her family's money and turned it into a pretty big fortune of her own. So,
really,
yeah, Paris Hilton is actually. I think Forbes did a piece on her recently.
Maybe she's a bad example, but there are plenty of examples of shitty ass kids with a bunch of money doing shitty ass shit.
Like our president.
Well, he was a good businessman in his own right. I mean, he inherited whatever he inherited.
He had a small loan of $1 million.
Well, what did he turn it into, though?
That's my point, though. My point is that your defense is it's a Mott and Bailey. It's indefensible. What if you're using the Mott when you say that maybe that was a poor example, because if you look at almost any example of a modern day family lineage of business, almost every modern day child of a business person these days has done something successful with their wealth. I mean, and these are all people I don't like.
The royal family.
I don't like Paris Hilton. But the royal family, we're not talking about business tycoons anymore. Now we're just talking about some sort of God-given bloodline. But you want to talk, okay, the Kardashians, Kim Kardashian, came to fame. The only reason anyone knows her name is because of her dad and because of a sex tape. And the only reason anyone cared about that sex tape was because of her dad.
Right.
Who her dad was. That being said, her net worth through all of her businesses is worth more than her dad's net worth ever was. And that's about the worst example I can give of someone taking. And now imagine this, though. Imagine all these business people that have taken their family's wealth and grown it exponentially. How much in taxes do you think they've paid? Do you think that they've paid more in taxes than a death tax would have charged them?
Are you expecting?
I'd wager to say so. No, it's more of a rhetorical question, because I'm sure I can pull up numbers that show that Paris Hilton, if you were to calculate a death tax on her family prior to her receiving the money, the amount of money that would have been paid by that
her grandfather.
Okay, that death tax, I doubt was nearly as much as Paris Hilton has generated in tax revenue for the U.S. government since she's become a businesswoman.
Huh. And
so it's a matter
one of the other arguments against it is that where that money goes, it actually really doesn't do anything for the economy.
Oh no.
So it's a stupid.
When you pull money from an economy, all you stand to do is hurt the economy. Economies cannot be controlled.
It's a flaming pile of garbage.
It's a flaming pile of. You do that way too well.
He'll like, when I pass away, I want my estate to go to all
so much that
dogs.
You know, the cannabis. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the cannabis.
Huge.
So I think I think. Okay.
Well,
listen.
Okay. I think since we've got huge and tiny hands on our mind, why don't we segue on over to the refugee ban?
Sorry. Boom. Or do you want to do a halftime show?
We're going to do the halftime show halfway through the show, which will be after the refugee ban.
I don't know. We're already a half hour in, believe it or not.
I noticed. That's why I'm pushing things through. Let's go.
I know, but I think you know what? Let's do a halftime now because Muslim ban is going to be a long one, I feel. So let's do it now.
Well, in that case, I come to a compromise. Let's go ahead and tackle Betsy Devos. Because I don't have much to say on her other than just a few little tidbits. Let's just go ahead and get that out of the way. Betsy Devos, Republican lady, pro charter schools in Detroit. I don't know if any of you have heard of charter schools. They're actually pretty effective here in California, where most schools are overbloated and crowded and shit. But I'm just going to urge every single one of you that is anti-Betsy DeVos to go ahead and not talk about that, because apparently her brother is a former Navy SEAL and the founder of Blackwater USA.
Ooh. What? For people that don't know, Blackwater is probably the craziest mercenary group that exists in the United States, at least.
So I can't believe that this isn't like headlining, like, by the way, BT Dubs, this woman's brother can have you killed. And thanks to Obama's policy, all they have to do is justify to the U.S. government that you're a terrorist, and they can go ahead and kill you without due process.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of lists.
So,
yeah, anytime you put like a no-fly list or even putting Muslims on a list, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah. So
what were you going to ask? I think there was a follow-up.
To Betsy DeVos?
Yeah.
I was just going to ask what you thought about her, because I don't really have too much on her. I don't really care much. I think that public education's a joke already. So I just thought I'd leave it open to you, unless you just want to.
Well, I thought halftime was going to be a break from politics. It was going to be
for the halftime show. Yeah, I got my would you rather's right here. We'll do a couple minutes of would you rather. Would you rather save the life of a starving African child that you will never meet, or have an actual working lightsaber?
I gotta go lightsaber. Fuck. I mean, if I was really, dude. I mean, what can this lightsaber do?
It's just an actual working lightsaber.
Like,
so
can I cut through my drywall if I wanted to?
Dude, you could cut through like 4-inch steel plates.
Be pretty cool.
You could cut a fucking tank in half, dude.
I'd have to go.
And I mean, keep in mind the implications. If you have an actual working lightsaber, odds are that would mean you have the Force too.
Well, then you can go to Africa and save like thousands of children, probably.
It's a would you rather, though, so you're not allowed to use your new powers to save African children. Mind you,
it's just one child?
Just one child. So I guess the way you could work around that is you could possibly stab it and save all the African children. You could just stab one of them with your lightsaber, and I think that fulfills the would you rather portion of that. Would you rather no one show up to your wedding or your funeral? I'm going to go ahead and say my wedding, because
I would rather have no one show up to my wedding.
I want everyone to be sad at my funeral. Just kidding. Honestly, if you went to my funeral, it would mostly just be people I've pissed off in life, like pissing on my grave or some shit. It'd be funny. Like they'd think they're doing me a disservice. Oh, I'm pissing on your corpse, and I'd be
hold
like,
on. Here's the counter to that. When you're dead, you don't really know if anyone showed up to your funeral or not.
Exactly.
So
I would like to know in life that no one showed up to my wedding.
Yeah. Well, no. You want people to you want to artificially be liked at your wedding.
No, I don't. I mean, I'm already assuming that no one's showing up to my funeral. It's already an assumption. If I can have no one show up to either of those things, I'll be a happier individual for it.
All right, but that wasn't the question.
Would you rather nobody show up to your wedding or your funeral? My answer is I'd rather nobody show up to either of the things, but the only one I have any control over is my wedding.
You say that, but I don't think you really mean it.
I think I'm antisocial. We'll do another Would You Rather and then go on to some refugee crisis. I think this one's probably a good one for you. Would you rather live in a world where there are no problems or live in a world where you rule?
Live in a world with no problems. So I'm already the ruler of my own destiny.
See, and I can choose either answer because they're both the same. A world with no problems is me in charge.
But wait, no problems for anyone or just no problems for you? Well, no, being a ruler will create problems for you. Unless you're a sociopath.
Yeah. But you either get to choose whether you can try and fix problems for other people or just have nothing happen to you.
Okay.
I'd rather take on the responsibility
and
potentially face bad things myself.
No, you think you want power until you have it.
Well, no, I know for a fact that I really don't want it, but I think if I had to choose whether I could have this, perfect hunky-dory lifestyle or if I had to take on responsibility and try and fix things, I think if given that option, I'd feel guilty if I had everything great and everyone else didn't.
Okay, well,
that's coming from the capitalist who doesn't care about anyone and like starving children or whatever other thing I'm going to get told this week. Because I don't believe in estate taxes. Okay.
Thank you. Moving right along to Trump hates Muslims after this.
I don't think he hates Muslims.
No, I don't think so either. Well, first let's just let's get into the meat and potatoes of what happened. Executive Order 13B/4A. I'm just kidding. I made that up.
Here's my understanding. He used an executive order to enforce something that Obama already pushed through.
For Iraq.
That list of 7 countries was already pushed through Congress and Senate, which is why Trump was legally able to do what he did. That's to all of you out there that are saying, right, oh, this is a racist thing. 1, Islam isn't a religion. 2, or Islam isn't a race, it's a religion. 2, it isn't Trump's list. He's just choosing to enforce it.
And B,
doing is keep banning. My real question is, would we have refugees if we didn't have a president in office for 8 years bombing these 7 countries? I spoke out a lot. During the past 8 years about what was going on. And one thing I noticed is it was always people on the left that defended Obama for bombing these people. Obama's administration created ISIS, and that's not some conspiracy theory. That is something that it's common knowledge. we, the United States, under his rule, funded rebel groups that became ISIS, much like we, the United States, funded rebel groups that became Al-Qaeda. We did this. Now, you might be saying, well, then it's our job to take in the refugees. In that instance, I'd be like, well, maybe it is a little bit, but, you know, I'm not the president, and it isn't my country to rule. And if he thinks that that's what he needs to do, and he's going about a legal way of doing it, then he's doing it. But what I don't understand is, why aren't you guys bitching about Saudi Arabia? The massive tent cities that they have there where they could, you know, take in every single refugee that could want to come into America. Mind you, Obama was only taking in, I think, 60, 70,000 refugees a year, taking in 50,000, but they could take in all of them. They could take in all of them. And mind you, I believe Saudi Arabia funded like, what, a third of Clinton's campaign expenses? So clearly they've got the money.
It was up there
to take in refugees. So my real question is, it's kind of a deflection. Yeah, it's a bit of a cop-out. It's a deflection of, why are you so focused on Trump now when you weren't focused on Obama? Is it because it suits you?
It fits their narrative.
And this is, I'm sorry, and I know on this podcast so far I come off as probably a big pro-Trump guy, but I'm just a pro-fact guy. And I see a lot of bullshit circulating around it. I am severely allergic to bullshit.
I thought that was a real sneeze for a second. I sneeze like this.
I mean, I have the black lung. You've been down here for an hour.
So, all right, just let me Iraq, Syria, Iran, Sudan, Libya, Somalia, and Yemen have banned people from entering the United States. I'm surprised some of the people from Iran, or some of these people were even able to get here in the first place. I'm kind of curious as to why he chose these countries and not Indonesia with a 2009 Muslim population, Pakistan, 176 million Muslim population, India, 167, Bangladesh, 134, Nigeria, 77. If this is a ban on Muslims, then why are they not banned from the countries that have the most Muslims? Because he's trying to ban the countries that have more people that practice Sharia law and radical Islam.
I have two answers to two questions you just asked. Why did he choose those 7 countries? He didn't. Those were the 7 countries already indicated on the terror list that Obama's administration put together.
Thank you, Obama.
It was just easier for him to pass that.
Thank you, Obama.
List. Your second question was why, or how are some of these people already getting in? Well, for people living in Turkey, Syria, Iraq, and Iran, I actually know a few people who've come over from those places because they're part of, they're from a place called Kurdistan. I don't know if you're aware of what Kurdistan is or what Kurdistan is to the U.S. But basically, they are a legitimate country that is on the borders of Turkey, Syria, Iraq, and Iran. Presently speaking, as far as the Syrian civil war is concerned, they've been our biggest allies in fighting ISIS.
Turkey has.
I don't know if any of you... The Kurdish Turkey.
Kurdistan.
Iranian Kurdistan. All of these Kurdish people, I'm trying to remember the exact number of them. It's in the millions. 15 to 20 million Kurds are in Turkish Kurdistan. So, we're talking about a very, very large group of people that are America sympathetic. I don't know if you've heard of the Peshmerga, those who face death, but, they've got an army of women in Kurdistan. because Muslims believe that if you die at the hands of a woman, you go to hell. And primarily Muslim, Christian, and Jewish, they realize that if they send women to go fight ISIS, it's going to scare ISIS. So that's why there have been people allowed to come in from Iraq, Iran, Syria, and Turkey. It's because Kurdistan is our ally. But the easy way to fix that would be if our good pal President Trump would potentially push through the UN that Kurdistan should be recognized as a sovereign country, and then we could determine who our allies in the Middle East are.
Well, we know that Israel is one.
Kind of.
What do you mean, kind of?
I mean, they don't really help us a lot over there. But
they help us out. I think we help them out over there more than they help us out.
That's my stance as well.
Except for controlling the world banks, which they do.
Yeah. Okay. You're getting a little anti-Semitic there, buddy.
Well,
you bring up Bilderberg or any of them, and you've instantly become anti-Semitic.
Well, they do exist. It's been proven. Let me try and do an Alex Jones for you. No, I'm not going to do that.
I'm so angry.
They're putting
Alex
cyanide in the water.
Smash. They're putting fluoride and cyanide in our water. America needs to change.
All right, here's my 2 talking points on the refugee ban. One is, how can we take in people from other countries if you've driven through LA recently and you see literally thousands of homeless people in LA? And granted, it's 2 separate issues with 2 different answers. And the homelessness, you can't just throw money at the problem and fix it. You got to actually do some thinking. And you know, the homelessness in LA and even in Bakersfield here where I live, it's kind of bad. But my other second point is, so anybody that's pro-refugee, I present this to you. If you're pro-refugee and you sign up on a list and you take in a family from Syria yourself, not for anyone else to deal with, if you are that strongly believed in, you believe in these refugees, if you're that passionate about it, then you take in a family and you take care of them on your own volition, whatever it is. And I think maybe they should create a program for some people like that.
So like,
granted, they don't just, yeah, why not? If you believe that passionately about it, then here you go. Then you can do something about it.
I'm all for that. I think if you can show that you have sufficient income to support a Syrian family, you should be able to go to your local Syrian family shelter and go adopt a Syrian family.
Yeah, why not? They've done it.
Just remember though. Just remember though.
In World War II, didn't they bring in Japanese families and shit like that?
You mean after World War II? Because prior to World War II, there were internment camps. Thanks, Democrats.
Wait. I may be getting my race and my war mixed up, but it's all. Who cares, really? We don't have to be truthful on this. I'm just kidding. No, I want to be truthful.
Let's close out on refugees. I'll just say this: if you go down to your local Syrian war refugee shelter, try not to just pick the young, cute ones. Get the old ones. Those ones are least likely to be adopted. The shelters give them all their shots.
And more likely to be your sex slave. Just throwing that out there.
See, I was just making a pet adoption joke, but you just don't pick out just the young, cute ones. Get the old ones. Those need families most.
And they need a bowl on the ground.
On that, though, I'll just say this:
dry food and water. I'm just kidding.
This is to all you wannabe liberals out there. This is to all you wannabe liberals out there who don't know what it means to be a real liberal. And I'm using the no real Scotsman fallacy real strong here. But you know what? If you want to say if you want to say in refugees and you want to be able to say what is right and wrong regarding them, how about you take a stand when a president bombs countries and creates refugees for 8 straight years? You want to feel bad for refugees? How about you prevent them from being refugees in the first place?
Yeah, well, we're going back on the rhetoric, which we're going to try not to talk about Obama, but in this case, it's kind of hard not to. When I'm just a drone.
Well, I'm saying even Bush though.
But don't you agree that maybe some of them were taking out the bad guys? Like we've got number 2 Al Qaeda leader, we've got the high-ranking officials.
Well, no, that what I'm saying though is regarding refugees. If Republicans didn't want to take in refugees, maybe they should have thought about that when we were going to countries and bombing the shit out of them. It's the same for the liberals too. But I think Republicans and the general conservative right are already getting enough shit right now. I mean, Berkeley just had a riot go on just because a fucking gay guy wanted to speak.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that's what I wanted to talk about also. Yeah, Milo, I am a fan of Milo. I feel like he is just out there fighting the good fight as a gay man, nonetheless. But him and Ben Shapiro go and try and speak. You know, we live in a world today where supporting the president of the United States will get you beaten on a college campus, and you are not, and your free speech, if you are on the other side of the coin of the collegiate fucking political scale, then you will be shut down. You will have the microphone taken away from you, and pretty much it's like we couldn't be more divided right now, which was my biggest fear of a Trump presidency, and now I'm bird walking. But
just on Milo, I'll say this: I think it's very funny that a riot broke out because Milo is so racist and anti-Semitic. You know, considering that he's and very, very anti-immigration because he's a half Jew. Gay immigrant with a black boyfriend. Gotta fight that.
I fucking love that guy.
For him a lot. I think he's a bit irritating, but he even says himself he's a provocateur. So
he is, which is not good.
I give him credit where credit's due. No, it's a necessary thing. I am one too. However, it is 8:36, and I think it's time we move on to.
But hold on, to speak on Milo, just one more time. You know what Trump said while he was campaigning about punch that person in the face, and I'll pay all your legal bills or whatever. That's not right, and what's happening to him is not right either. You should be able to go and give a talk that you're paid for, which is your job, without insinuating a riot. I mean,
well, I think the difference here, though, is between that is that Milo was invited to this college campus. The guy in the Trump campaign was not invited there to speak. Okay. He was someone there speaking to protest inside a paid event. So it's kind of like if I stood up in a movie theater and I started shouting shit, oh, this movie's terrible, blah, blah, blah. Okay,
someone jerked me up. Wait.
If I went to the Ghostbusters premiere and I said, this movie's fucking sucks, blah, 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 while I'm seeing it, of course someone's going to get pissed off and punch me. Would it be right of them? No. But it's comparing apples to oranges. Comparing someone getting punched during a Trump rally to shooting commercial grade fireworks at police, lighting cars on fire, and assaulting a person with a shovel. I mean, that's a little bit different than punching someone in a face.
Fucking knocked out. There was 2 guys that got totally, completely laid out, and it's like, why? What are you proving by beating people up? You're actually not doing your cause any good. They're
not protesting.
Disservice,
and
you're not helping your cause either by being violent. I'm sorry, Black Lives Matter did not do itself any favors by torching businesses and flipping over cars and shit. You're not doing
That brings up something very valid, and it actually makes me very happy that you bird walked us with your fucking pigeon toes. Very important point, and it's a question that I have to anyone in the audience that might be able to give me an answer. All three of you. What does the protesting accomplish? What do you see from these protests? Do you see Trump being impeached? If not, then why aren't you running around with signs that say Pence for Prez 2017? Are you trying to change the world? How about you devote your time, your effort, and your resources into fixing the problem instead of just running around bitching about it, torching businesses and cars? You want to torch a car at a protest? Torch your own car. Bring your car and burn it if you want an icon. You want to beat the shit out of someone? Beat the shit out of yourself. I support your right as an American to beat the living hell out of yourself. Speech. But if you want to go out and use your right to free speech to prevent other people from exerting their right to free speech, then honestly, you're neither deserving of free speech nor freedom at all.
Boom. Holding it down.
So my question summarized is, why are you protesting? What do you stand to gain? And
people are angry.
Push things on. Okay,
people are angry,
cool.
and they're looking for a scapegoat. I think that's what it is.
Well, they're throwing a temper tantrum.
Right.
But, in keeping with the theme of his entire existence, since we are short on time, we're just going to do a little closing snippet with Ben Carson. He's about as important as the snippet. Not very. What do you got to say?
We're only at 55 minutes, so we still have some time left. But Ben Carson, maybe we can riff a little bit and we can talk about how much we love feminists. Ben Carson.
Oh, I most certainly will. No, you're saying it wrong. It's Ben Carson.
Ben Carson.
No. Keep your voice really low. It's hi. It's me, Ben Carson. Hi,
it's me, Ben Carson. I'm a retired neurosurgeon. Actually, a lot of people that I respect in the right side of the aisle liked him as the presidential candidate. He probably would have beat Hillary too, had he made it.
I was pro Ben Carson.
Yeah, he's not a bad dude. And
he was definitely my choice out of Trump.
And it's just like the way if you look back at it now and you see how Trump painted these pictures of the people that were against him, like he called Jeb Bush low energy, he called Ted Cruz Lion Cruz. He painted all these visual pictures for. He's like, there's something to be said about Trump and his powers of persuasion. I mean, he wrote the fucking art of the deal, right? So anything that he does, anything that he did during the campaign, which you have to admit that he's kind of toned down his rhetoric since he's been elected president. During the campaign, he was it seemed like he was off the hinges saying shit, but I feel like he was more precisely calculated than people want to give him credit for. He knew, and so like a lot of like the whole Rosie McDonald, what's that her name? Rosie McDonald. Like they when she was in that interview with Megyn Kelly and she's like, you said this about women and blah 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 blah, and then da, da, da. What do you have to say about only Rosie McDonald? And it was kind of like any other politician in that
Rosie O'Donnell.
McDonald,
Rosie McDonald. I mean, it fits.
But only him could have come up with that shit. You know, any other politician would have fucking gave some roundabout answer and sidestepped it. And he's like, no, only Rosie O'Donnell. And I think he should deserve an Oscar for for his performance during the campaign, but he's actually really toned it down and is being a lot more presidential from here on out. I'm actually starting to like the guy more and more and more as we go on. I was really reluctant to like him, but now I'm starting to like him.
I think today, as far as Trump's concerned, the failed assault or his failed military, I don't even know what to call it. I'm having a total brain fart here. His military incursion, his first signed off on military order, resulting in civilian casualties and the death of 2 U.S. soldiers. I think that's kind of, for me, it does show his one of his areas where he does lack expertise, and that's in making life or death decisions.
But he also went to the family and paid respect to him personally.
Okay, well, I mean, that's certainly... wait, no, not allowed to segue into the last guy. But I will say that is more than some of what his predecessors might have done. So I'll at least give him that on.
That's a noble, respectable move. He in the middle he was in the Oval Office when he got word of it. You know, obviously he's been fucking busy the last 2 weeks. Hops on a plane with Ivanka. Ivanka, I want to have sex with you. Melania. His daughter is so fucking hot, though, isn't she? But breaking in, we might have my boy come on for a Super Bowl preview.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, just to get back to Ben Carson, that's how forgettable he was to me, though, is that we just started talking about Ben Carson, but sure enough, here comes Trump again.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyways, let me break it down real quick, see if he wants to come on. He's going to give a fantastic Super Bowl preview. He's one of the smartest football minds probably in the country, and I say that without fucking any... Who's
going to the Super Bowl this year? Is it going to be another Tampa Bay versus Oakland shootout like in 2002?
Yeah, actually, it's exactly like 2002. No, it's not. It's Patriots in Atlanta, 2 offensive powerhouses. Should be interesting. Well,
go Atlanta.
5 minutes. Okay. Let's do this. Who's in? Who's out? Who's in? Ben Carson. Who's out? Julian Castro. What Julian Castro is famous for, from his position of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. And basically what they do is to make sure, they make sure here to increase home ownership, support community development, and increase access to affordable housing free from discrimination. So I'm guessing when this was put in office in 1966 under Lyndon Johnson that there was some kind of discrimination going on about giving loans or selling to black people. Probably that's how this was created. Ben Carson, retired neurosurgeon. He's an author. He's actually a pioneer in the field of neurosurgeon augmentry. Now check this out. If this dude is the only guy ever to successfully have a separation of conjoined twins from the back of the head. So what that means is there what's known as Siamese twins. People joined at the head. He successfully created a surgery chopping those 2 in half, and they're able to keep their brains. Now, what the fuck? Isn't that crazy?
But that doesn't correlate directly into ability to... Like, I can at least think of one... I can think of at least one person, one prominent politician who would have a lot more experience in working with low-income families.
But he's black.
On housing.
He's black.
It doesn't matter. Okay, Ron Paul was a fucking gynecologist who primarily for free to black families.
Sorry.
And he's way better versed in economics.
He's been on a lot of boards for a long time. A lot of people respect him. Just because he's never been a part of any housing community doesn't mean he's not good for the job.
He might very well be, but that's up to time. And to speculate beforehand, the only thing we can speculate on right now are the merits he has that would show that he might do a good job. And so far, the only thing
part of urban development. So there you go.
Well, it doesn't quite work that way though.
Well, it did. It did though. I don't know. But there's something to be said that if you're so good at one thing and that you try something else, that chances are you're going to be pretty good at it.
Maybe. I know for a fact that Trump is really, really good at pissing people off and becoming president of the United States. But I still wouldn't want a back massage from him. I wouldn't want a Trump massage.
Would you want one from Melania?
Yes, but not Trump. Not President Trump, because his tiny hands just aren't conducive to a good massage.
Yeah, but tiny hands actually equal a better hand job. Moving on, who's out? Julian Castro. He's kind of famous for almost becoming Obama's VP, believe it or not, before all the Joe Biden memes. He was also, so he left, I guess, when the second, he left sometime. The Hatch Act.
So are we getting our guest on for?
Yeah, we are.
Well, in that case, I might be. I need to get off of here really quick. I just had something come up, and it seems a bit like an emergency. But I just figured I'd wait for you to get back before I got off of here. Didn't want to leave under some weird terms.
Right. Sorry, I had to use it.
Anything. Yeah. Little boy's room. You'd like from me in closing?
In closing, Alexander, what do you have to say for yourself before our Super Bowl preview?
I'll definitely be tuning in for it to see what's said while I'm gone, because I know my ears are going to be burning. Aside from that, just my communication to some. I'm going to go ahead and work a little bit harder on the page, try and get things looking just a little bit better for us. You should be seeing a lot more activity on the Mercury's Cast page. I've been really busy with work this week, but I'm definitely trying to get some decent content through, and I know that you're certainly trying as well, really hard, and I'm trying to.
Well, I'm the only one.
So I'll try.
You.
I'm trying to help you out a little bit there, and the only thing I will say though is if you guys want to follow us on Twitter or on Facebook, that definitely be appreciated. If you know anything about how Facebook page metrics work, it's definitely every like matters. It's huge. It's huge.
It's huge. I've been at 99 to like 95 for about 6 months, and I probably
a few of my friends this week have liked the page per my request. I'm gonna go ahead and
dude, we need one more to hit triple digits. It's so fucking.
We'll get that tonight.
Okay,
I promise you. I'll go ahead and share a link on my main Facebook page.
Damn.
We'll see about getting the word out there to at least another 600 plus people. So,
word up.
In the meantime, though, I'm going to try and get some dank memes coming. I definitely, it's encouraging to see it's already there, but just share each cast. I know we get a little bit off topic. I've gone through and I've looked at the archives of every single episode of the show, and it's been interesting to say the least.
Are you listening to all of them?
Or at least, yeah, every single one I could get to, yeah. So.
Oh man, me and Kenny, I miss Kenny. We had some fun back and forth.
They've come a long way, but hopefully they'll keep growing and keep progressing and getting better and better. I'm, at least personally, if I'm on, I'm going to try and keep things a little bit more organized.
No, we were
at
on
least
track.
For myself.
We were pretty on track today, and that's something that kind of lacked, was a little structure. But you have,
so
cool. I appreciate that, man.
Every episode I'm on, you're going to see me taking notes, guys, and that's me just trying to keep us on track for the plan ahead, because I know it's a lot easier to listen in when, you know, a plan, a guide. Like right now, you know, Tech Talk was at 7:45. We discussed estate tax at 8:05. Betsy Devos at 8:14, the refugee ban at 8:21, and Ben Carson, he at 8:40.
Hey, will you do me a favor and message me those so I know it's easier for me instead of having to go through and listen to the whole podcast for the
Most certainly.
The IPO and stuff like that? Or
most certainly,
you know, and when you type in limps and the Twitter hashtags and stuff, it's. You know, I got it wrong so many times, and like we'd spend 20 minutes.
I just sent you the time thing. The only thing I didn't do was timestamp the halftime show, but I know for a fact that was between Betsy DeVos and the refugee ban, so that was only about 6 minutes long.
Okay,
it was probably at around 8:20, maybe 8:18. So at any rate, I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. It was a pleasure, as always. Do you have anything for me in closing? Maybe a hug and a kiss goodbye?
Well, I'll give you a hug. Maybe another kiss. Not yet. I'll kiss on the second date. Whoa, some shit's going down.
Yeah, you got some sirens, man. But
out here in the jungle. You know, out here in the jungle. MMA for Money has just joined. Sweet.
What's up, guys?
Your video
Alexander
is not there.
He's not going to have any video.
Okay.
He's wanted by the FBI in 3 different countries.
Yeah,
is Venezuela one of them? You get brownie points for Venezuela. Well.
Okay. Alex, have a good night. I'll talk to you later, and I really appreciate all the work that you're doing. I really do.
Okay. Well, we're going to keep it up. I'll see you next Thursday.
Hail to the motherfucking yeah.
You have a good one. Bye.
For sure. Now, welcome to the program, Mr. MMA for Money himself. Getting ready to talk some foosball.
Yes, sir. Little Super Bowl preview.
How are you feeling tonight?
Good, hanging in there. How you doing, bud?
Oh, just living the dream, player.
Yeah, I hear you.
So
I'll give a little background for
Super Bowl 45, is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you want to give background on yourself?
Yeah, just for those who don't know me, you know. So, real quick, you know, I've been in the sports betting industry for 17 years now. I started back in 1999 for the first ever sports handicapping information website / forum. The owner at the time, you know, he was he used to work for Billy Walters as a mover. I don't know who Billy Walters is. He's probably one of the most infamous handicappers in Las Vegas history.
There you go. Stay closer to your mic. I think you got closer to it, whatever you did.
Okay, good deal. You know, I don't have a pro setup like you.
Well, in due time, my friend.
Yes, sir. So, anyways, he, you know, took me under his wing and pretty much mentored me in...
Billy Walters, huh?
Yeah, Billy Walters and Ken from, the first ever sports information website. And then after that, I worked on both sides of the table. I worked for him. I worked for a book in Costa Rica, setting up lines. I owned my own site, which was ranked fourth in Alexa rankings in terms of traffic for sports betting websites. So definitely have had my rounds in the sports betting industry, let's put it that way.
Hell to the yeah. So let me give you my new, unless you were done with your intro.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead.
So from the way I see it is that we have two offensive powerhouses clashing, one with defensive holes, and one team, the Patriots, that have just been performing out of their minds pretty much all season long. And even the first 4 games not having Tom Brady. So I have a feeling the Patriots are going to win, but I have a feeling you're going to tell me something different.
You know me too well, bud. All right. Well, for those who don't know, the line opened -3, and it was a little juiced. Pinnacle opened -3 at 112. Right now, they have Atlanta +3 -117, but most books in Vegas are just staying on that 3 number, or even a little juice towards New England, 3 -115, 3 -120.
There you go.
And the crazy thing is, they're getting over 70% of the public on New England and no line move. We're talking one of the offshore books that I have access to their info. They have $3 million right now on New England and $600,000 on Atlanta. No line move. It only moved in Atlanta's favor there. So what is that telling you? They want you to bet on New England. The money is coming in on New England, and they're just like, let it flow. Come on in. Bet New England all day long. And that's a bad sign. Usually when you have the team that Vegas is, welcoming you with open arms, that's bad. Especially considering Las Vegas's history with Super Bowls. For those that don't know, Vegas is 24-26 in the last 26 Super Bowls. They have won 24 out of the last 26. They've come away with a profit. There were only 2 Super Bowls they did not profit on, and that was the New York Giants in 2008 and the Niners and Chargers when we were teenagers. So they were, they have a history of setting their lines tight and getting a profit in the most bet sporting event of the year. They play no games when it comes down to winning and losing on the Super Bowl. So as far as the money report, things don't look good if you back New England. Let's put it that way. Another thing is, from a pure betting standpoint, there's a little anomaly going on, I guess we'll call it. New England is sitting at -145 on the money line. So if you like New England, you're better off taking the money line than you are the points, obviously. Now, on the flip side,
it's so close to the
on the flip side,
numbers.
If you like Atlanta, you're better off taking the points, and that typically happens in the Super Bowl. That's a tendency that I guess you could call it an availability bias, where Las Vegas knows that the public likes to take underdogs in the Super Bowl. That's just basing off of past history. So they typically skew the money line and shade it shade the VIG, which ultimately makes the underdog a sucker bet for big games like the Super Bowl. So like for instance, if we go back and we look at the 2007 Super Bowl with the Colts are a 6.5 point favorite over the Bears. Typically, a 6.5 point favorite would be a minus 280 money line. That's a win probability of about 74%. Well, the Super Bowl money line closed at minus 245, which says that that's 71%. So essentially, you got a VIG-free discounted bet, which obviously, as you know, would make you a profitable sports bettor long term if you were able to get that, every day of the week. So you're going to see situations like that, where the market pretty much dictates where the line goes. There's so much money being put down that the line manager is just going to let the line dictate itself. And that's even why you'll see small limits were set up last week. Now things are starting to open up, and as we get to game day, obviously you'll see, big limits out there. Offshore, seeing some books have 40, 50,000. In Vegas, I know you can get $100,000 down, pretty much without a problem. So, they pretty much allow you to move the line for them and, not get hurt, let's put it that way. And then once they feel comfortable enough in their position, then they open it up and you're allowed to get down your $50,000, $100,000, if you got a big suitcase full of money in the closet.
Which I do. I've been waiting to unload my big suitcase.
Nice. I know you've been busting ass working 14, 16-hour days. That shit's stacking up over there.
Yeah, I'm putting it all on the Patriots money line.
Shit.
I'll probably write it with you. I don't know. From my limited knowledge, I just feel like the Patriots are just unstoppable right now. Just looking at it from a pure standpoint. And let me ask you a question about this. You can maybe tie it in with both. The sports books have been getting killed in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So do you think that them not adjusting the lines has anything to do with that?
Yeah, I think to an extent. I think they were comfortable in the number that they set. I think they knew that they were going to get Patriots money. Now, statistically, my model came out with -1 on the Falcons, which basically said that they knew they were getting, 4 points value themselves by opening Patriots -3. So they were comfortable with that. They were giving the majority of the public the shit end of the stick by dealing -3 on the Patriots, and they were comfortable with it. And then all the money flowed in at a bad price, and the public got shitty value. 80%, 70% of bettors got shitty value in the Super Bowl. So they're comfortable with that.
Huh. Yeah. And, Sportsbook's been getting killed. Matt Ryan, he's looked – how good has he looked lately?
Yeah, both offenses have looked tremendous. The Patriots have looked tremendous, and Atlanta. Atlanta averaged 40 points per game in the playoffs. That is unheard of. New England has averaged 35 points in the playoffs, which is unheard of.
And how about that total number? That's the highest ever, right?
Yeah, 58. And the interesting thing, and I just, noticed it today looking through past Super Bowls, there's only been 2 times in Super Bowl history where both teams have scored over 30 points.
Huh.
It traditionally does not happen where teams score a ton of points, at least together.
Yeah.
Usually shootouts in the Super Bowl, teams, it's the biggest game of the year. So you're going to try to be more conservative on offense. You're going to try to be more conservative on defense. But, it'll be interesting to see how things swing this year with You know, you got the number 1 offense in the league in Atlanta, and you have the number 10 offense in the league with New England. You know, so you got very good offenses there. Atlanta has the 23rd ranked defense, so that's not too tremendous. And New England has the 10th ranked or 9th ranked defense, in their own right. So, you know, they're a mid-tier team pretty much by looking at the stats. And that's broken down with offensive and defensive stats, taking into account the strength of schedule. So New England has played, leading up to the playoffs, they played weak teams. The best quarterback they played to date before the AFC Championship, or I should say coming up to the AFC Championship, was Ben Roethlisberger, and he was ranked 11th in the league. They had a cream puff schedule coming up to the Super Bowl. Huh. It did get tough once they got there, you know, but it was a cream puff schedule. They were playing teams like the Browns, you know, RG3, you know, some weak quarterbacks, and they took advantage of it. But in the same token, they're mid-tier. They have the 9th ranked defense and the 10th ranked offense. They look unstoppable now, don't get me wrong, but they got their confidence from beating up on weak teams. Whereas Atlanta, on the other hand, you know, they came out of the South. They had a decently tough schedule. It's ranked 14th in the league. So, you know, that's a lot better than New England, who had the 23rd ranked, you know. So they had a way softer schedule.
So the scheduling is leaning you towards Atlanta as well.
Yeah, the scheduling was beneficial to New England, and
well, of course, that's like, you know, they say Dallas is America's team, but it might actually be the Patriots. And a lot of people on the West Coast don't even care about the Patriots at all. Like, one hate them or love them, but I think the rest of the country either hates them or loves them. They definitely draw a lot of attention.
Yep, I was going to say the same thing. You either hate them or you love them. There's no in between.
Huh.
Now,
there's somebody like...
You know, as a coach, I think Belichick is tremendous. I think he'll probably go down as one of the best coaches in history, behind Vince Lombardi. You know, he came from the Giants. You know, for those who don't know, you know, I was born and raised in New York City area, and you know, I was a big Giants fan and still am. And as a kid, you know, Belichick led, along with Parcells and Tom Coughlin and
Bill Parcells, right?
They led him to the Super Bowl in '86. Belichick was the coordinator, and along with Bill Parcells, and they led him to the Giants to 2 Super Bowls in '86 and the Super Bowl was 1991, but it was the '90 season. And then he went to the Browns, actually. A lot of people don't know. And Belichick turned the Browns around for the most part, and then eventually got hired by New England. If you actually go and look at the Bill Belichick coaching tree, they have it on Google. You go to Google Images and you pull up the Bill Belichick coaching tree, and you'll see some tremendous names in the history of the game. You know, guys like Charlie Weiss was tied to him, the Notre Dame coach, Josh McDaniels, just the lineage of Parcells on down to Belichick. And, you know, there's some historically great football minds on that list. It's kind of like the MMA for Money family tree, you know? You got Billy Walters on top, coming down the list, you know, to my mentor, down to me, down to you guys, you know?
Right. Family Hammer.
Yeah, pretty nice, you know?
Fuck yeah. All right, so let's get into some picks and bets, if you would. Maybe you don't want to release any of them, but I will say that I like the under because I feel like there's so much hype garnered off of these two offensive machines, and once it comes down to playing time, the level of the magnitude of the situation. I think there's going to be some. They're not going to perform as well as what I'm envisioning, and this is all gut stuff. I'm not a model number guy like you are, which has been determined to be successful long term. What I'm seeing is first quarter is very slow, and that live total is going to drop down. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I think it'll be a tale of two halves. I think either, if the first half starts off slow, then you'll see the pace pick up in the second half, or vice versa. I don't think you're going to see 4 quarters of, crazy nonstop offensive action. Defenses are
just fucking Hail Marys left and right for TDs.
Yeah, I don't think you'll see that. I think you'll see a close competitive game no matter what.
Yeah. Huh. And a lot of the Super Bowls have been kind of boring. I don't have anything in front of me. Maybe the last one was more competitive, but the last 5 have been kind of blowouts.
Well, we just said, only twice in 51 Super Bowls have 2 teams scored more than 30 points. That says it right there.
Huh.
Yeah.
So,
they're not big, high-scoring affairs. The one was 35-32, I believe. And the other one was, I forget off the top of my head. I want to say 40-33 or something like that. But, 58 is going to be a hard number to cross over. And based on, the model, it's saying 54 is the number. So you are getting statistically 4 points value, 4.5 points value if you bet under 58.5.
Huh. And expect that line to drop come Super Bowl Sunday. Probably 57.
I expect that to drop. I think you'll see the public push it up, and then I think you'll see the groups push it on down come Saturday night, Sunday morning. And I think you'll even see that 3. I think you'll see them come off the 3 come game day. Once the groups come in hot and heavy, especially if for whatever reason they move off 3 to 3.5, which I don't think you'll see. I don't think you'll see New England bump up to 3.5. But if you do, you're going to see a flood of group money come flying in on Atlanta, and it'll beat that number down low. But more realistically, I see it staying at the 3, and the group money come in on Atlanta and take it down maybe to about 2.5 or 2. I think there will be enough heavy influential money that will bring it down, regardless of the fact that 80% of the tickets are on New England. I still think you will see the line come off the 3 in Atlanta's favor because the group money will be that big come game day.
Huh. Dropping knowledge.
Yes, sir.
Mr. MMA for money.
Don't forget, we got a lot of props, too.
I'm sure you're going to be throwing out a dozen props.
The Super Bowl is time for props. A few of them that we got will either team score 3 straight times in a row. Yes is minus 190. No is plus 170. Will there be a missed extra point? Yes is plus 270. No is minus 330. Which team will score first? Patriots is minus 130. Falcons is plus 110. Total completions by Tom Brady, over 25.5 or under 25.5. They're both minus 110. I like the over in that one. I think Brady will will throw over 25.5 completions. They like those short routes.
Yeah, the short game.
He likes to watch those slants. Chris Hogan,
We got to wrap it up quick here. So let's get a couple more props out.
Yeah, well, LeGarrette Blount scored a touchdown. Yes is minus 160. No is plus 140. Total receptions by Julian Edelman over 7.5, under 7.5. And total gross passing yards by Matt Ryan over 325.5 and under 325.5. And total rushing yards by Devontae Freeman over 50.5 and under 50.5. That's an interesting one that caught my attention. They're saying that Devontae Freeman is only going to get 50.5 yards, which, is that a sucker bet? It kind of looks that way.
For the over?
Yeah, he shares the role, as we saw in the playoffs, even though he is the starting running back, but he does share the role. So 50.5 yards is questionable.
Yeah, well, we had that one bet on him that didn't work out.
Yeah, because it's Tevin Coleman.
Right.
It's whoever has the hot hand is really what it comes down to. And, if one running back is better than the other, then you'll see Atlanta tend to lean on Tevin Coleman. If Freeman starts off, better picking up 5-6 yards chunks, then you'll see Freeman get most of the carries. But for the most part, they like to keep it a 50-50, 60-40 split.
Cool. Well, right on, man. I really appreciate you coming on, and we can promote it. Just to fast forward, we could time mark if you want, whatever. But anyways, it was good to chat with you again, brother. You're my boy, and we talk all the time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I had a good time, and for everybody else, come to MMAForMoney.com or MMAForMoney on Twitter, and we will get more knowledge and information, breaking news as the weekend goes on.
Yes, please. If you are into sports betting at all, you better get on Twitter. And if you're not on Twitter, then you better get on Twitter. But if you are on Twitter, then you better follow MMAForMoney.com and click that notification window, because the bets come fast and you've got to be ready to fire. They come really close to game time. But all right. Well, thanks a lot, bud. Definitely talk to you later. This has been Mercury's Cast. Super Bowl weekend. Damn, we didn't even mention Groundhog Day today. Oh well, 6 more weeks of weather. It was almost inevitable. All the rain and shit that we had. Good Lord. But for anybody else, please step your game up. This has been Mercury's Cast.
Are you right? Are you right? Are you right?